All right, y'all, this is my 2010 era Meade Lightbridge, 12-inch. I got this thing in 2010, and from 2010 until 2015 or so was my main scope, and then it sort of became an outreach telescope, and it is in serious need of some touch-ups, if you will. We've got some scuffed paint. I've already done a lot of mods to this scope over the years. I flocked it on the inside. I painted the rings. These all came, I think, white. The poles were silver. So I painted them black many years ago. She's got some issues. The base was rebuilt. I don't even remember when. It was made of OSB, orientated strand board, and when that stuff gets damp, it just doesn't do very well. So a friend of mine, Kyle Overturf, and I built this one. Always a huge thanks to Kyle for helping me with that. And but this one, the top is good. This bottom, I think, needs to go. It's been rubbing, you can see there, and I think that's because it's bowed over time. So my plan is to build something off of some extruded aluminum and redo the base, and then ultimately work my way up. So that's my plan. Start low and go up. A lot of cosmetic stuff. I want to get rid of this flocking. This stuff is bad. It's coming off in here. And that thing is falling apart. Don't really have a plan for that yet on replacing that mirror cover. I do want to paint the scope. As you can see, it's just been scratched and dented, and, well, not really dented, but definitely scratched. I call her Moanin' Myrtle because it's more of a screech these days. So that needs some work. You can see it does this seesaw thing. It's not supposed to do that. So I'm gonna address all those issues. Clean the mirrors, new paint job. We're gonna make this thing hopefully look and perform better than when it was new. All right, so the base, you know, wood is pretty good still. I think it was poplar that we used back in the day. Man, I wanna say that was like 2012, 2013-ish or so. So I'm sure the wood is fine. It's got a little bit of grit on it, which we can get rid of all that. I'm gonna like wood fill the holes and such. And to fix the bearings, I'm gonna do Teflon. I've tried various things over the years to let the bearing roll. Meade gives you felt, and that is just not gonna work. Kyle and I laid this design out and just traced it. We did do some different stuff on the base. They have a round base. This always worked. It was great. It never teetered over. It was never off balance. So I'm gonna continue with this design, just make the bottom a square. I think the first thing I need to do, I need to disassemble this and get to wood filling. This is the original wood color, by the way. Just tells you how much it's been used since I had the base remade. I mean, look at the, I assume that's dew that would form on there and then drip down over as the night went on, who knows. That screw was very rusted. I guess it has to be expected, but you can see the circular bearing down here has left a mark on the wood, and it's got some rust spots to it. Not really sure I'm gonna do a whole lot to this part of it though. You know, these two discs just ride with these little roller bearings in between. I think this is probably a plastic. Yeah, it's a plastic. And for the bottom, I'm gonna do exactly the same thing on that. I'm gonna get a 3/4 piece of plywood and attach these 3 pegs to the extruded aluminum, bolt those onto that. So I just gotta get this little, this nut right in the piece of 3/4. And that shouldn't be too hard. That's the one that holds everything together and allows you to put tension on the roller bearing. All right, wood filler is pretty much done. Just had to fill a few spots here and there. And I'll sand this down when it's dry. And I had a little bit of a split going on here. Good thing about plywood though, you can just glue it back together. So I'm gonna let this dry for a good bit. I need to go get some sandpaper anyway. And then I'm gonna do a light sand, then take it all apart and paint it. Filling and sanding is basically done. Could have done a better job. Not really trying to win any prizes here. I just need it, most of the holes kind of filled in, and do a little bit more work here. I've had to, this board actually split on me while I was taking it apart, which is kind of funny. These screws, those are the ones that came in the Lightbridge and were in the original pieces. So I'm gonna glue this piece together in hopes I can save it. If not, I can easily cut out another piece. All right, so I got one coat of this Sherwin-Williams stuff. I actually bought that for my trailer. So I'm kind of cannibalizing it for the mount. That's all right. I think it's called Black as Night. And went on pretty well. I did it with a little sponge brush, so I didn't get as smooth of a finish as I could get. All right, so I just slapped, I think it was maybe 2.5, maybe 3 coats on this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna do any more. I kind of put it back together. You can kind of see that that's a shadow. Actually, it's not a bad paint job. It's pretty smooth. This stuff shows fingerprints like immediately, and you can see I scuff it up as soon as I touch it. So it's pretty fragile right now, especially because it's still curing. But the whole base is now painted except for the bottom plate, which will go under here and have the roller bearing in it. All right, so this is what I have for the very bottom plate here. The footer plate is what I'll call it. So I've got the old feet, which is bolted in to this 20 mil extruded aluminum. And this is gonna be my very bottom contact with the ground. It's only about a 1/2 inch in from where the old one was, and I built the old one to the spec of Meade with their bottom disc. So this thing is gonna go on the very bottom, and it'll have a piece of 3/4 inch plywood on top, bolted to that. On top of that, the roller bearings. While I'm letting this paint cure up fully over a couple of days, I gotta solve this problem with the bearing, with the seesawing scope, the wobbling scope. So this is kind of what I've come up with, just some scrap Teflon. I drilled a hole in the middle, enough to where a screw would sit just under the surface there. And I think I'm gonna do 4 of these points all the way around, just sort of like install that kind of like that. All right, Teflon is on, ready for a test fit. Let's see how this works. Obviously I can't move it left and right because there's no ground board. Moanin' Myrtle no more. This is the eyepiece holder that comes on the side of a Meade Lightbridge. I don't remember which way I guess it's supposed to go this way. So you can put, your biggest eyepiece, and you can see where it's been all these years. And I guess I'm gonna put it back there, but it's got some rust, and it's just seen lots of field action. So I'm gonna start stripping this thing, taking everything off. I'm even gonna take those pipe insulation runs off of there as well. You can see, they really did actually help protect the paint over the years, but I think for the time being, I'm not gonna replace those because I don't have a shroud right now. The shroud would go around this part to kind of close it all in. Oh, there's not one there. Ah, the much beloved Telrad finder. I have to find a way to preserve this because I'm going to use this on this particular telescope for a Pi finder in the future, which I've already printed the body out for. So that's where the camera goes. The camera is then attached to a box that attaches on those 4 screw ports right there. Everything connects behind here. Genius design. I forget the name of the gentleman on the Discord who designed this, but kudos to you, sir. This is fantastic. That goes into the Telrad finder. Now you have Pi finder capabilities right here, right next to the eyepiece. For those of you that don't know what a Pi finder is, it's a camera attached to a little computer, and you input the object. It takes a picture of the sky. Then the telescope knows where everything is. So then it tells you some values. You push the scope to the object and it's in the eyepiece. It's a fantastic thing. Pi finder, check them out. I don't have one yet, but everyone I know that has one says they work really well. And it's plate solving, right? We all know what plate solving is if you're an astrophotographer. I think I am gonna have to remove this thing. This thing has been on here since I got this telescope. 2010 or 2015, it's been on there 15 years, 2015, yeah, 2025. So 15 years. So it's probably time for some more, I think that's double-sided 3M tape in there. So I'll get some more of that. Getting that off was surprisingly easy. All I did was take a thin screwdriver, and I'll sort of set it back into place there. And I just sort of got under these corners and just sort of gently, because I didn't want to scratch it any more than necessary, and just kind of gently pried up. And actually the plastic from the Telrad separated from the 3M tape rather easily. So now I have my Telrad base. I just got to add some more 3M tape next time I'm ready to put it back on. All right, focuser's off. All right, secondary mirror cell is off. We got this top ring off, which goes on with these little screws around the edge. The secondary mirror is just held on by 4 tiny screws that sort of stick out of the vane, the spider. And that's all set aside. I'm gonna clean the mirror, but then if you see here, this is gonna be, all right, so this is what I got. This is the upper tube assembly, and this is the tape situation. This stuff is extremely gummy, and it is not wanting to come off. It's sort of coming apart. Like I could go slow if it was still intact, but this stuff is, oh man. So alcohol helped, maybe, I don't know. But here's the problem. Whether it was the alcohol or just time, you can see here where I'm losing whatever coating they had. So like you can see where I didn't put double-sided tape here. That might change my strategy for dealing with this tape. I think maybe the best decision is just to get it off as quick and as dirty as possible, and maybe even repaint this inside. I found a solution that kind of works. You can see I got most of the tape off of there, and I bet you can't guess what it is. Or maybe you can. All right, cup holder is back on. Party time. So I found a piece of spare plywood from the old van build, and it was a piece that I took out and was gonna scrap, and hey, I scrapped it, and it was able to fit the dimensions I need. Next piece of the puzzle is our ground board. So this is my recycled piece of lumber. I did some wood filling. I did probably 2.5, 3 layers of paint. I mean, really what's important is the edge here. That will be pretty much be the only thing kind of seen. When I turn them out, you should be able to see these corners. Basically, I need to drill 1 hole in this to fit my bearing tensioner. And then I need to screw the extruded aluminum bottom part to it. This is, wait, I should have stopped talking a long time ago. Nice and flush. And again, that's to capture the bolt on the bottom half. Now what I'm gonna do is, through my pre-drilled holes, I'm gonna do 6 wood screws sort of around the perimeter in certain corners and stuff to secure this bottom board to the extruded aluminum. To secure the aluminum to the bottom ground board here, I've got these those things. I think they're 1.25 inches. All right, there they are. All 6 screws in their relative places. I did these in the corner because I didn't want any uplift. I did some in the middle for just overall support. Couldn't put those in the middle, obviously, because of the foot or the feet on that side. So I just drilled the holes in, you know, about 1.5 inches away from there, just to hold that corner. And I think it'll do okay. I think the aluminum here is really just to make everything stay rigid and never warp under any circumstances, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And the time has come to assemble the base. So I'm going to grab the disc and plop everything together. The Lazy Susan is in place. Now I'll just lift the base onto there and insert the bolt. This bolt used to be stuck. It had a piece of metal sort of stopping the threads. That's gonna be too tight, but there we go. All right. That's probably the best the base has ever turned since I've rebuilt it. Or yeah, since the base has been rebuilt. So we're already off to a good start here. Just doing a little test fit here. We already established that it works better on these bearings, but I kind of wanted to just show them a little closer. You can see that the metal bearing for the lower tube assembly rides these Teflon pads now versus felt from the factory and then nothing when I rebuilt it. But they move really well. They do leave a bit of Teflon residue on that, which is okay. I guess that's actually gonna help maybe in the long run, just kind of lube things down a little bit. But yeah, you can kind of see in there and see how it's just it's got 1/4 inch or so, maybe 1/2 inch of clearance to keep it from rubbing the wood and stay on those Teflon pads, which is exactly what you want. So the base is done for all purposes, really. The base is now done. Looks like it rotates pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. Hoping this front post is enough. I mean, this is how it comes from the factory. So I'm hoping that's enough for a tripod design. If not, I can always go get some different rubber feet and put one at each corner. Shouldn't be a big deal at all. Turning my attention back to the double-sided sticky tape. And this is not an ad for Goo Gone, but wow. I've been working on this for maybe 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and I've been able to get all of these. I had 2 strips there, 2 strips here, and then I think 2 strips down this way. And it's been coming off pretty easily. I have like a little scraper and this Goo Gone, and I did have to use the hair dryer, but it's this netting, this mesh that's in this tape. Oh man, future Will is angry at past Will.
Between the theory in which, in his steady state, only a little bit of matter is created here and there across space, versus with other theories like 100 atoms.
All right, so 2 hours later, Goo Gone has officially removed all of it. I do see a little bit here, but that might just be some slight residue or something. My hands, I was wearing gloves, my hands are sticky. This Goo Gone, that's about how much even the bottle's sticky. That's about how much I used right there. So a little bit less than half. For the outside paint, I'm just gonna use this simple Rust-Oleum satin protective enamel paint, Coastal Gray, which for some reason is one of my favorite colors. I also got some of this for the disc bearing underneath the rocker box. That should be good. Oh, it has a light vanilla scent. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to really be breathing it. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Flammable, vapor, harmful. Excessive inhalation, maybe fatal, but at least you have a light vanilla scent as you go. Isn't that great, Blaster? Thank you. So my idea for this is, it's got a lot of blemishes. It's got a lot of nonsense going on. I feel like if I can get the metal scuffed up, I might only need to do one layer of primer. I don't think I want to sand down to the bare metal. Just tried a little bit of dry sanding, and it's very dusty, which, I figured it would be. But I need to wear breathing and probably eye protection. Okay, here we are. Lower tube assembly. This is gonna be where the fun is. It may look like a trash can, folks. And I think the first thing I wanna do is take the mirror off of the assembly. Actually, you know what? No, I'm taking these bearings off first, then the mirror.
Today by calling our office at 409-866-1901 or going on evenings and weekends to assist you. This is Roy West. Please keep well informed on what's happening here. Call at the Roy West team of Guild Mortgage at 409.com. This is Zach Stiles. Remember, teamwork.
This was Mexico. Here now.
California is on. Electric vehicle mandate.
Just didn't run up to when the task force on the declassification of federal secrets is going to be lifted at UAP.
2 hours later, actually an hour and 45 minutes. This tape went easier. I had this little 3D printing scraper, which I definitely ruined in the process. And I used a heat gun, just a regular old heat gun. Got it real warm, ran those strips, and then I just ran the scraper up underneath it. And it did, there's some marring or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna reflock this anyway. Not for the Grand Canyon Star Party, but eventually. And because what I'm worried about right now is just getting it back to where it's working and in a good state. So, whew, now that that's done, and I've got the upper tube assembly and the lower tube assembly deflocked, I can start sanding. So I have some of the hardware over here, and you can see where over the years, I put this thing on the ground, and sort of the paint has chipped off that I put on here 2012, 2013, 2014, whatever it was. So I'm gonna plasti dip these pieces. I may not even do much to this one, but I'm gonna plasti dip some of these scuffs and stuff. I'm thinking about plasti dipping the bearings as well. They're this kind of brushed silver aluminum kind of look. I think it might be cool to plasti dip those as well, but my goal is to, just to sort of touch these up. These are the upper tube assembly rings. The lower tube assembly ring is here. The other one's with the mirror. And there's just minor defects there, so I'm gonna just do barely touch-ups on those. Working on getting the painting done. And got the bearings painted with plasti dip. And I kind of like the way it looks. It's like a brushed black metal. I did mask up the bearings so that no plasti dip would get on those. And I don't think I'm gonna paint the sort of those back pieces. You don't really see those from the outside too much, and I don't really feel like it's necessary to do that, although I say that now. All right, I don't even know how many days we're at now, but completely disassembled. It's just a tube at this point. You can see that that tape, man, it was just getting that stuff off. That was the longest, like, what, 4 hours I think it took me total, almost 5 hours maybe, to get all that tape off. So we're basically done with the sanding now. I've got it back down to primer, essentially. I went a little harder in some areas than others there was just stuff, man. There was rust in a lot of these, where this bare metal is, but I was able to get 90% of that off. And you can see there's no more gloss. So now I'm going to paint them, but I'm not gonna paint right now tonight because it's extremely humid. The air is stale outside, so project's gonna come to a little bit of a halt until maybe tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Spend Saturday painting. All right, so this is the mirror cell. I've removed it from the bottom mirror cell, but it's still attached to its own little assembly down here. There's an unfortunate fan that is forever attached to this, because for you to take it out, you need to get to those screws right there. Well, I can't get to those screws because the mirror is epoxied to the mirror cell. You know, that's standard procedure for these type of Dobsonians. So this introduces a bit of a predicament. I don't think I'm gonna do anything to this cell at all. No paint, no nothing, because everything, like I said, is permanently attached to the mirror, and I don't want to go around in there and start messing with stuff. The only way I can think to even get this fan off is cut it off, I guess. I really don't know of any other way. I don't think I can access those screws. There's just not enough clearance there. And that's even the least of our problems, because for one, this old cover is coming apart, and it's been coming apart for years. And I mean, it looks like it was, like, what kind of plastic is this? It looks like it was made in like 1984, and it's just been sitting in like a basement forever. It wasn't, and it hasn't. So, but you can see it's cracked and stuff. So this is definitely an issue. I don't know what I'm gonna do about this. Maybe just clean it. And this is the condition of our mirror. Now, it's not horrible, but it's not great. It's got a lot of those flocking fibers all over it. Oh, good. And that screw right there is just making its way out. I've washed this mirror probably 3 times, maybe 2 or 3 times in the amount of time that I've had it. You don't really need to wash your mirror too much. If you wash it too much, that can actually be bad for it. A little bit of dust is not really gonna hurt anything. This is probably too much. All right, here we go. Coastal gray. All right, so there's basically one really light coat and one kind of like fill in the gaps. Probably a little bit better lighting over here. So you can see, still seeing some white through there. That's okay. Going in for 3rd coat in a second. All right, that's coat 4. I think I'm gonna do one more because, you know, I just want it nice and thick, 5 coats. And now my table's gray, which is okay. It's a paint table. And then, you know, Bender got in the way. All right, I've made enough of a mess here. I've got all the parts out. I've got some parts over here, crowding up my desk. And that's painted. Basically, I am going to start reassembling this thing, and might as well start from the bottom up. All right, we're almost there. I did a quick clean on the just the tape here. I mean, it was, you know, full of storage stuff and tree particles, and it's just, you know, I showed it yellowing and stuff, and it's just a mess. I'm gonna redo this later, but not for this trip or whatever. But I did go in and rinse the mirror, and it's like night and day here. All I did was just in the shower, you know, the mirror, put it down, rinse with the gentle jet and a little bit of Dawn dish soap. It's an old mirror. It's 15 years old, so it's been out in the wars against photons. So it's seen some use, but I'm gonna give it a better clean later. But for now, this is. I was expecting kind of like more issues, but nothing too bad. So I'm almost ready to assemble everything. Here's all the screws and the 4 spider secondary mirror spider vane holders. I'm missing 2 screws. It's funny because both the top and the lower have 6 of these Phillips screws. Sorry, 12. I have 11 on both, which is hilarious. So now that I'm done with paint and everything is looking pretty snazzy, I'm gonna go inside here and paint it with a flat onyx black. All right, I think I'm done on the inside here. I mean, I'm eventually gonna flock these. I'm pretty sure the upper and lower tube assembly here. So, you know, I just kind of wanted to get rid of some of that scraping of getting the glue out of there, or the double-sided tape, whatever. But I also wanted to just kind of keep it dark in there. And I think overall that's gonna perform fine. Again, I'm probably going to flock this, but before I make some kind of horrible mistake and drip black paint down the side of this thing, I'm gonna stop. I think I got like a little mark there, but it's on the inside of where the bearing will be, so I don't think I'll notice it. But we won't tell anybody, okay? So, base, truss poles, all the accoutrement. I got the screws plastic dipped up. Got some 3M tape for the tail rad finder, all my rings, and the body. And I've let this paint, the outside paint, cure for 3 days now, or something like that. And you know, it's not tacky to the touch. I need to get this thing together so I can get it packed away and ready for Grand Canyon. So we're gonna do assembly. Here we go. Last step in any telescope. Assembly, build, whatever. The old tail rad. All right, and the movement of it is what I'm really happy with. I mean, now I have the ability to actually hammer down on that bolt down there, which before it was, like I said, it had a piece of metal in the thread, so it was stopping it. And it runs good, runs smooth, goes up and down pretty well, doesn't do that thing. That's just some simple Teflon down there. Maybe one day I'll upgrade the focuser, but you know what? This thing still works, and it has the Meade logo on it. I did have to get rid of the Meade sticker, obviously, to paint. But maybe I'll figure something else out there. And definitely need to get the tail rad on. But I think the first things first, we gotta make sure she collimates up. All right, so we got Howie. And basically all it has is the pinhole attachment on it. So you get the Howie glider collimator, the pinhole attachment. Okay, I recentered the secondary to the focuser just by eye, and you can see it's a lot closer to the donut. All right, once I got the laser to be center of the donut, you add the tube lug, or the collimator, I should say, into the tube lug. And that allows you to see this image, and you can see that dark little disc over the hole is what you're looking for. And you get that by turning those 3 blue knobs. And that's it. She's collimated up, ready for an eyepiece, and it'll be cloudy for a week. That looks center to y'all? See? Told you. Told you. Showing the process. There you go. The phone camera's like, wow. Yeah, thank you. Look at how bright that is. It's like, it looks like it's electronic.
Your logo, that would be easy to put on the shirt.